Alright, everybody. What is going on? We are back on Spreaker and on YouTube. And basically what I'm going to do in this is I'm going to have an entire show in probably a 20-minute format. And then I'm going to split it up on YouTube. I'll get out all the links to that. As I'm working today, it is Wednesday, July 24th, 2013. And it's been a while since we've been on Spreaker. But we're going to kick it in high gear. We're going to start off with a little Monday Night Raw. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to run down that show real quick. Then we're going to run down the spoilers, which I'm going to throw up on the YouTube. And then get into some UFC news and actions. And then we might come back on here tomorrow to give you the SmackDown spoilers. But if not, then just stay tuned to that. Let me get the Raw spoilers up, or actually Raw coverage up. Now, Monday night, July 22nd, 2013, Monday Night Raw was from Austin, Texas, and it opened up with Brad Maddox and basically the contract signing for the WWE Championship match for John Cena and Daniel Bryan. Basically, it hyped up the main event, which Daniel Bryan was going to take on three competitors of Brad Maddox's choosing. Cena really hyped him up, gave him over well, and I'm not a fan of Brad Maddox. I know a lot of people are, but I am definitely not. Our next match, or first matchup of the evening, is going to be Alberto Del Rio versus Sheamus, a non-title match. Went back and forth. Good action between these two. Alberto Del Rio defeats Sheamus. And then you have a Booker T, Teddy Long little segment. Horrible stuff. I don't know what direction they're going in on this. It looks like Booker T is kind of jealous of sorts. With the Del Rio Sheamus match, it was slow at first, but down the stretch it got decent. When they pointed out Sheamus' leg, which it was injured, Alberto Del Rio was going to take advantage of it. ADR needed a win, and this loss to Sheamus didn't hurt him. Or actually, he needed a win, and Sheamus' loss did not hurt him at all. A decent 2.5 out of 5. Our next matchup is Christian defeating Titus O'Neil. An okay match that hopefully you get to see the younger guys get over. But this might turn into a feud with all three guys, Christian and Base Darren Young next week. And maybe they can do a handicap match on Raw. Nothing for SummerSlam, of course, but it was an okay 2 out of 5 match. Ryback did an interview, and then Mark Henry did a in-ring promo leading to the Shield's attack and the Usos making the save. Basically, what happened was Ryback did a backstage interview saying that he intimidates people because he's strong and you're weak. Whatever. Mark Henry's in-ring promo basically said, you know what, I'm just glad to be home. It's good to be back in Texas. If the Shield wants to attack me, come on right now. And the Usos made the save. Well done promo by Henry, and as expected, the save from the Usos. A lot of people, including us, we have been reporting that a six-man tag is set for SummerSlam, but if you're going to read the spoilers, we're going to get more into that in a little bit, so hang on there. It was all good from all parties, and it's good to have a new program. Well, not a new program, but an old program that just got started and new pieces to that puzzle, for sure. Dolph Ziggler defeats Darren Young. Actually, Darren Young got a lot of offense on here, and a little bit too much than I wanted to. Dolph Ziggler did defeat him. A decent match that had no bad in it. It was more of a squash match that saw Ziggler be on defense. Like I said, more than I wanted to, but it was a decent 2.5 out of 5. Two young guys going at it, and Dolph Ziggler is insane. Miz TV advertising Total Divas segment, quick and painless to get the show over. I didn't even recognize it on TV because I was doing coverage, but I guess Brie Bella had a wardrobe malfunction, and of course everyone on Twitter when it exploded. That photo, if you want to see it, it is on ProWrestlingUnleashed.weebly.com/galleries or /women's galleries. So that's in the link. Cody Rhodes defeats Fandango. I love this feud with Cody Rhodes and Sandow. Can't wait for the match at SummerSlam, which is reported. I just wish they would give him some more microphone time because Sandow is brilliant and Cody Rhodes can show off his in-ring talent. A decent match with the time they had, 3 out of 5. Basically what happened was Sandow tried to distract Cody Rhodes, but in fact he actually distracted Fandango enough for Cody Rhodes to hit the springboard kick and finish it off with the Crossroads. CM Punk versus Paul Heyman promo segment was amazing. Anytime you get Paul Heyman on the mic, it is golden, and you definitely want to check this segment out. CM Punk with his new character and his Wolverine style, I'm not a fan of particularly, but he does get the point over that he is coming for Paul Heyman. He wants his revenge for Paul Heyman, and in fact, he will get his revenge on Paul Heyman, and that he challenged Brock Lesnar at WWE SummerSlam pay-per-view August 18th of this year. Not to a fight, but to a wrestling match. As of right now, there is no stipulations added to this match, which he pretty much put it as the Beast versus the Best, and I think that's the stipulation they're going to go with. I don't want to see Brock Lesnar in a wrestling match. I don't know if he's up for that task. If you noticed, all of his matches are in a no DQ, hardcore, no holds barred, or his latest match with Triple H at Extreme Rules, which was a steel cage match. So how is he going to do with a awesome in-ring talent with CM Punk? I don't know, but we're going to find out with that at SummerSlam. Like I said, Punk was good, but Heyman was golden. Anytime these guys go at it on the mic, it's awesome, and hopefully they can keep it up. This build has been excellent so far, and the match is now official, and they got a couple more weeks to build this baby up. RVD defeats Wade Barrett. Really stiff match. Wade Barrett got his lip cut open. But it was decent stuff with, again, RVD hitting all of his signature moves. Nothing bad, and more building up for the return of the whole effing show. Daniel Bryan defeated Jack Swagger, Antonio Cesaro, and finally Ryback via disqualification. Basically beat Jack Swagger in 3 minutes. He beat Antonio Cesaro, which was a match of the night candidate and match of the year candidate on Raw with a 20-minute match, and then he went, I believe it was about 9 to 10 minutes with Ryback, and one spot I was really concerned about was Ryback. Bryan was coming off the apron for a flying knee. Ryback caught him and was supposed to powerbomb him through the table, but he missed the table and powerbombed him on the floor right on his neck. I did not like that. And then he had to redo it and just basically powerbomb him through the table. He was going to do it again, but John Cena made the save. And that sets up the main events for next week's show, which we're going to get into the spoilers in a moment. It's going to be John Cena versus Ryback in a tables match for the main event, and then the return of Kane versus Daniel Bryan. And my final thoughts on this show was this. The show wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. I felt like it was never going to end, but that's just a 3-hour gap. The Cesaro versus Bryan match was awesome. It made it fly by. Ryback getting put through a table only set up the feud we saw and want to forget about. That shouldn't happen. Then Kane versus Bryan. Why? Why should that happen? Kane got took out by the Wyatt family. There's no need to have a match with his best friend, but, which I'm going to get into in the spoilers, this all makes sense. I would give this show a 5.5 out of 10 rating. What do y'all think? Leave it in the commentary below. And before we get into the spoilers, I think we're going to run down some MMA news. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter, AR_official_94. Like me on Facebook, facebook.com/AR_official. Alright, y'all. We're going to get into MMA news. Just two big headlines, and then we're going to run down this Saturday night's card. Let me get on MMA News 1.weebly.com or alternative news talk.weebly.com/UFC news. Let's get into it, y'all. Just a few news and notes. UFC 163, August 3rd. That's next Saturday. Can't even remember the guy's name now. Anyway, Joe Rogan is not going to be doing commentary with Mike Goldberg. Basically, what's going to happen is Brian Stan is going to be color commentator for UFC 163 because Joe Rogan does not want to. If the show is on extensive travels, then he doesn't want to. You can read that article up on MMAnews1.com. Also, Roy Nelson, he re-signed with the UFC on Tuesday. Basically, he's a top 10 heavyweight, and he is he's 19-8, and he re-signed. Obviously, trying to see. I thought it was a 9-fight contract, so he's going to be in the UFC for a while. UFC 166 takes place October 19th, 2013, in the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. And that headlined pay-per-view is Cain Velasquez versus Junior Dos Santos for the third time for the heavyweight championship. Roy Nelson will fight Daniel Cormier at UFC 166 in the co-main event. Also, the bigger news of the week, my favorite fighter indeed, Chael Sonnen signs a new contract with the UFC and will return to the middleweight division. Basically, this is what's going to happen. He signed a 5-fight contract with the UFC. He takes place center stage for his last light heavyweight fight against Shogun Rua on Fox Sports 1's show, which is later next month, August 17th, against Shogun Rua. And then after this fight, he is going to go back to the middleweight division. Maybe because, Chris Weidman's champion now. I don't know. His last fight was against, of course, John Jones at UFC 148 on July... no, that was back in April. And then his last middleweight fight was July 7th of 2012, where he was knocked out in the first round. Second round, sorry. Here's a quote from him saying, basically, there are two guys I want to get a matchup with. First, it's Vitor Belfort because he's awesome and an incredible role. Second, it's Vanderlei Silva, who I now found out that he's going back to middleweight. Sonnen said on UFC Tonight, the landscape has completely changed. I have a new contract, and I'm returning to the weight class. So, that is your MMA news. Before we get into that, we're going to jump right back to some Raw spoilers. Yes, as we are 12 minutes. And we're going to hop back to Raw spoilers. I'm going to run it down real quick. And, of course, this Monday night, next week, we are going to have live play-by-play coverage of this tape show. But I definitely recommend y'all come on out. ProWrestlingUnleashed.weebly.com, 2@7.com, NextGenerationWrestling.weebly.com, and our newly launched ProWrestlingHunter.weebs.com. Now, these are quick results, so can't really get into much of it. We're gonna hop best way we can. The show starts off with an opening promo with Vince McMahon and Daniel Bryan. Bryan gets a huge pop. Brad Maddox comes out too. He and Vince talk to Bryan about his match with John Cena. The Shield defeats Mark Henry and the Usos, so that match probably won't happen at SummerSlam. Should they do a rematch at SummerSlam and have Henry and Usos go over? Absolutely. Will they? I don't know. Rob Van Dam defeats Fandango via countout after Fandango just walked out of the match. I don't like that because RVD needs more wins. Caitlyn defeated AJ Lee in a non-title match. This feud will not end. Dolph Ziggler came out and said he wanted a match with Big E Langston. Dolph Ziggler defeated Big E via disqualification after AJ attacked him. This match is going to go to SummerSlam, I predict. Christian defeated Alberto Del Rio in a non-title match. Could that set up a world title feud? Probably. I don't really want to see it, though. Cody Rhodes defeated Wade Barrett. Damian Sandow came out there after the match and cut a promo. Daniel Bryan defeated Kane via pinfall. After the match, Kane chokeslammed Daniel Bryan, and the Wyatt family came out there and attacked Kane. Follow the buzzards, Daniel Bryan. Brie Bella defeated Natalya in a quick match. That just shows you right there what her status in WB really is. Curtis Axel defeated R-Truth. Paul Heyman cut a promo about Axel before the match. After the match, CM Punk hit the ring to a huge pop and attacked Axel. A backstage segment with Vince McMahon, who said that he wanted someone like Triple H to face John Cena at SummerSlam. Probably talking Brad Maddox. And then your main event of the evening was John Cena defeating Ryback in a tables match. After the match, Daniel Bryan came to the ring, and he handed the WWE Championship to John Cena. Cena and Bryan celebrated to close the show. That is your WWE Monday Night Raw. What would it be? July 29th, 2013 spoilers. So we are going to end the show like this. We're going to go and we're going to hop into some MMA cards. And if y'all just give me 1 minute to get this set up and get me a drink. Alright, y'all. This is on Fox. This is the last Fox, for regular Fox at least, for the UFC as they're going to Fox Sport 1. Alright. They are live from Seattle for UFC on Fox. Number 8, Johnson versus Morga. Get my fight card loaded up. And we're going to start it off. You have one Facebook fight. You have 6 FX fights. You have 2 women fights on here. We're going to start with, just run it down real quick. You got some good cards. You got good fights on here, to say the least. You got Julia Kinsey versus Jermaine D. Ramdy. These are just undercard fights. Ed Herman versus Trevor Smith. Yves Edwards versus Darion Cruikshank. And then a fight I'm looking forward to, Melvin Gillard versus Mac Danzig. Danny Castellino versus Tim Means. Micah Chiesa versus George Masvidal. And then what's kicking off the UFC on Fox number 8 card is Liz Camuch versus Jessica Andrade. Liz is 7-3. She just lost to Ronda Rousey. She's 5'6", 135 pounds. Jessica's 9'2", 5'3", 135. So Liz got the definitely height and reach. Liz, she's going to look for strength in her takedowns, ground and pound. And Jessica's going to keep it trying to stand. She can ground and pound, but her main thing is kicks. I'm going to go with Liz. Next match is Robbie Lawler taking his second UFC fight on his current run versus Bobby Volker. Robbie, the ruthless Lawler, is 20-9 with 1 no contest. He's 5'11", 170. Bobby is 24-9, 6 foot, 170. Robbie, he has power in his hands, he has speed, and he needs to. He's going to keep it on the ground, or on the feet at least. He got awesome takedown defense. And Bobby, he's a stand-up guy, so these guys are going to bang. Look for that to be fight of the night. Rory McDonald versus Jake Ellenberger. This should be a good wrestling match. Rory is 14-1, 6 foot, 170. Jake's 29-6, 5'10", 170. Roy McDonald is a freak, man. He can knock you out on the feet or he can go to the ground and submit you. This assassin is going to come for the juggernaut. And Jake, he got heavy hands. He's got a strong chin, heart, but he's very experienced and well-rounded. This should be a very, very interesting fight. And in your main event of the evening, it's going to be for the 125 title. It's going to be Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson taking on John Morga. The defending and reigning UFC champion Demetrius Johnson is 17-12. He's 5 foot, of course, 125. And John is 13-1, 5'6", 125. And actually, John has a 3-inch reach advantage. Demetrius Johnson, really fast, one of the fastest guys ever, and definitely for the UFC. His conditioning is phenomenal, and his technique is awesome. And John, he's got wrestling. So that's what this fight does. Alright, y'all, we're going to get out of here, y'all. UFC Fox 8. There's the card. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching on YouTube. We're going to get out of here, y'all, and we will see you next time.